Like this? Hello? All good. Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome. Oh, this camera, sorry there. Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to the first secondary debating contest at Regent International School. Today's debate motion is saying that nuclear weapons make the world a safer place. We have 6 competitors and we're going to start today with Serena in year 10, who's going to be arguing in favour of the motion that nuclear weapons make the world a safer place. Serena, when you're ready, off we go. One moment. You see the timer? Yep. Okay, 3 minutes. When you're ready, off you go.
My name is Serena, and I'm debating in favor of the motion, nuclear weapons make the world a safer place. Firstly, nuclear weapons could act as deterrents to major international conflicts with what we call the deterrence theory. Deterrence theory refers to scholarship and practice on how threats or limited force by one party can convince another party to refrain from initiating some course of action. The topic gained increased prominence as a military strategy during the Cold War, regarding the use of nuclear weapons and is related to, but distinct from, the concept of mutual destruction, which models the preventative nature of full-scale nuclear attack that would devastate both parties in a nuclear war. The central problem of deterrence revolves around how to credibly threaten military action or nuclear punishment on the adversary despite its cost to deter. Secondly, they help reinforce national borders and encourage communication. Our society is becoming more and more globalized. Thanks to the internet, improved communications, and other technological advancements, we can talk to anyone, anywhere with a simple data connection. New transport technologies are being developed to provide long-distance transport at speeds unimaginable a generation ago. By strengthening national borders, a global cooperative society can be built through negotiation and diplomacy rather than war. Negotiation is another large benefit of having nuclear weapons. They give a very strong tool to threaten or promise safety from, which aids many countries. Agreements and compromises are much easier to make when knowledge of the destructive power possessed is given. Thirdly, it changes the power and status of the country. Nuclear-capable nations have benefited from the power and status that comes with the territory. For example, while others view North Korea as a small and insignificant country, many others pay attention to their wishes and actions, since the country has a large fighting force and some nuclear weapons. As no one wants to experience a nuclear attack, other countries do whatever they can to avoid any conflict with North Korea. Lastly, just the fact of having nuclear weapons and letting the rest of the world know provides a great amount of security. Other countries do not want to invade or attack these countries because of their ability to retaliate with nuclear weapons. In conclusion, I believe that nuclear weapons do promote world peace and communication, ensuring a safer place for us all. Thank you.
Okay, we're now going to hand over to the opposition, and our first speaker from the opposition is going to be Charvatha, arguing against the motion that nuclear weapons make the world a safer place. Round of applause for Charvatha, please.
Hi, I'm Charvatha, and I'm going to be arguing that nuclear weapons don't make the world a safer place. Despite what the news imposes about an atomic war being obsolete and having treaties protecting us, it's still a threat, especially in the unstable times that we live in, where not all countries have the same amount of nuclear and atomic power. The superpower countries such as China, France, Russia, Iran, the USA, and North Korea can fire anytime. A real-life proof of this is when North Korean leader Kim Jong-un boasted that, and I quote, "The entire mainland of the US is within the range of our nuclear weapons, and the nuclear button is always on the desk of my office." And this is what he said during a peaceful New Year's speech. As a rebuttal to this, the ex-US President Donald Trump tweeted a response and he said, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un just stated that the nuclear button is on his desk at all times. Will someone from his depleted and fruit-starved regime please inform him that I too have a nuclear button? It's much bigger and more powerful one than his, and my button actually works. Despite the sheer amount of jealousy, hostility, and sarcasm between the two leaders, why should the public suffer due to conflict between two cowardice leaders? North Korea has detonated multiple missiles, with Hwasong-15 being its most powerful tested nuke, and a new type of thermonuclear submarine-launched ballistic missile being its most powerful untested nuke. Just 2 weeks after these statements were released, there's a fake emergency alert sent to people in Hawaii that a ballistic missile was threatening inbound on the island. This fake alert wreaked havoc, and many expats left the island soon after as a temporary economic contingency. This fake alert created unnecessary emotional trauma. And what's the point of building nuclear weapons if you hope to never have to use them? Nuclear weapons also have a very negative impact on the Earth. Detonation has a major ethnical impact, whether it's on testing nuclear weapons or attacking with them. From 1945 to 2017, more than 2,000 nuclear explosion testing have resulted in an epidemic of cancer and other chronic illnesses. Large amounts of land are now extremely radioactive and unsafe for habitation, even decades after the closing of these sites. Even marine and land biodiversity was affected and ended up dying. The Hiroshima and Nagasaki blasts caused over 129,000 deaths, and more than 250,000 people died from the aftermath. And not all countries have nuclear power to protect themselves due to the Treaty of Non-Proliferations. This treaty caused countries to have to give up their nuclear power.
No problem. Okay, if you take a seat, we're just going to have 30 seconds now for both teams to prepare for the rebuttal speakers. So the rebuttal speakers will be Noor from the proposition and Gazelle from, Gazelle from the proposition and Noor from the opposition. So 30 seconds for both teams just to gather their thoughts on the other speakers' speeches and get ready for the rebuttals. I'm going to hand over to you. Okay, so for the proposition, the rebuttal from Gazelle, can we have a round of applause for Gazelle, please? There you go. There you go.
Good afternoon, my name is Gazelle and I'm on the proposition team. Firstly, nuclear weapons are a deterrent to starting major conflicts. Only a handful of nations are armed with nuclear weapons. The US and Russia have the most weapons, but France, China, the United Kingdom, and Pakistan all have more than 100. The presence of these weapons and their immense destructive capabilities is a major deterrent for starting a major conflict, like the two world wars that are fought in the first half of the 20th century. Even when both nations have nuclear weapons, their mutually assured destruction is enough to cause diplomacy to rule the day. This surely outweighs the maintenance and development costs for making nuclear weapons. Secondly, it reinforces national borders and changes the parallel status of a nation. Countries with nuclear weapons are treated different on the global stage than countries without those weapons. North Korea may only have a dozen or so nuclear weapons at best estimate, but their demands are taken with an extra level of seriousness and scrutiny because they have developed rudimentary nuclear weapon technology. Because there is a desire to avoid such a devastating conflict, most nations with nuclear weapons can generally get what they want on demand. Yes, nuclear weapons cause terror threats, but if a nation is on a higher status, it will generally have a better reliability of security and police services along with professional border security, eliminating any unwanted objects into that nation. In addition, our society is becoming ever more global. Because of the internet, communications improvements, and other technological advances, you can talk with anyone anywhere with a simple data connection. New transportation technologies are in development that can provide long distance transportation at speeds which are unthinkable just a generation ago. By reinforcing national borders, a global society of cooperation can be built through negotiation and diplomacy instead of warfare. Thirdly, they provide the foundations for other technologies. The technologies that have helped to create nuclear weapons have fostered other technologies that have benefited society in many ways. Nuclear power provides a relatively clean source of energy that is used to power hundreds of thousands of homes around the world. For example, nuclear reactors have been used to build naval vessels. Many types of nuclear power propulsion have been proposed to future spacecraft. This factor surpasses the few negative environmental aspects of nuclear weapons, as they are only a threat when a detonation of a bomb occurs, which has only been done twice. Therefore, it's very unlikely. Finally, they can be fired without a direct threat to personnel. The nuclear weapons dropped in Japan were carried by bombers tapped to the flight crew. Rockets can be fired remotely from stations, and intercontinental ballistic technologies can let someone manage the weapon from thousands of miles away. Nuclear weapons do not require a battlefield presence in the same way as a conventional weapon may require. Thank you.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry. Okay, thank you very much, Gazelle. Very good rebuttal there from the proposition. We're now going to hand over to Noor from the opposition, who is going to give his rebuttal to what's been said. Yes, and a round of applause for Noor.
Okay, so most of your points keep on mentioning how nuclear weapons cause safety and how they cause people to worry about not attacking. While North Korea has had nuclear weapons, and all they've been doing is having violations on human rights. It would be great if we could put an end to that, but no. All the nuclear weapons pointed at us are gonna make sure that we don't try anything. Nuclear weapons are a shield for cowards to hide behind. Also, nuclear weapons deplete many useful resources. How are we supposed to make more generators to keep on supplying for our demand when all of the uranium is being used up? Keep in mind, it's super rare. So all of that useful resource is just gone for just intimidation tactics. And now there's also diseases. Cancer. I don't think anyone here would like having cancer after they've been hit by a nuclear bomb, which causes them to get all of their resources cut off. It causes diseases and multiple deaths. Like, diseases are not good at all because that's bio warfare, and that's also illegal. And also you keep on talking about how it keeps on how it costs so much money. How it costs so much. It costs that much money instead of using that money to develop human rights, maybe make sure more people get food, education. No, how about we just make big scary rocket, which is not, where the direction we should go in, personally as a human myself. Also, there's Russia and Ukraine, which are in big tension right now because of nukes. Also, the Cold War, World War I, World War II, nuclears, just normal bombs in general. Especially the Cold War. Many deaths, many cutoffs, all because people were scared of nukes. And people say that it's a good intimidation tactic. It's not that good of a tactic if all you're gonna do is just make sure that if you get taken out, everyone else in the radius around you dies, even if they did nothing. Because, for example, the Tsar Bomba, it has such a big nuclear radius that it's basically gonna get massive civilian casualties. And if there's a war, only soldiers should be getting killed, even though war shouldn't even exist. So that's why I say nukes are against human rights and peace.
And that clip as well, please, Noor. Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Noor. We're now going to move on to our summary final speakers. So we'll have 2-minute speeches from our final speakers from each team. So we're going to start with Manas and then Kapil. So a big round of applause, please, for Manas.
Hello, my name is Manas, and I'm a speaker from the proposition. In conclusion, nuclear weapons should not be banned for many reasons. Firstly, nuclear weapons are a deterrent to starting major conflicts. The simple presence of nuclear weapons is enough to prevent a major conflict, like in World War II, where Japan surrendered after the USA dropped 2 bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. After the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we are aware of the potential damage and violence a nuclear bomb could cause. As a result, countries will never use them again due to the principle of mutual assured destruction. Mutual assured destruction is a principle founded on the notion that a nuclear attack by one superpower would be met with an overwhelming nuclear counterattack, such that both the attacking and defending sides would be annihilated. Secondly, countries with nuclear weapons are treated differently on the global stage. Their thoughts and demands are taken with additional solemnity in order to prevent a nuclear conflict that could potentially escalate to a nuclear war. Thirdly, they provide the foundations for other technologies. For example, the same technology used in nuclear weapons has fostered other technologies such as nuclear reactors, of which there are already 440 around the globe. In addition, let's suppose nuclear weapons were banned. There's nothing preventing countries from producing nuclear weapons illegally, as they already know how to do so. Therefore, it would be a better idea to regulate nuclear weapons instead of banning them. Thank you for listening.
Perfect. 1 minute, Kapil. Okay, thank you very much, Manas. Very well argued. So thank you for all the proposition who've now spoken. We now have the last speaker, Kapil, who is from the opposition side. Kapil, when you're ready, and can we have a round of applause for Kapil just before he goes.
Okay, so my team stated many points as to why they believe that nuclear weapons make the world more unsafe compared to a safer place. Our team argued that it will always be a threat, even if the intimidation tactics, at one point, it's going to be inevitable and something's going to happen. There's many examples of this, like we stated, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. All of these are examples of when nuclear weapons were used and caused massive civilian deaths. Also, like Sharita said, there was more than 2,000 nuclear tests during 1945 and 2017, which caused massive cancer and other chronic illnesses, which caused many deaths across these places. Also, these nuclear weapons are using resources that could be used for the improvement of humankind compared to causing death and plagues. It also causes imbalances in powers where stronger countries that have the ability to access these nuclear weaponry cause terror and fear to countries that might not have the ability to access treaties like NATO, which provide them with safety or protection from these massive superpowers. There have been many usages already, so the point that you can be safe as it's only just an intimidation tactic is pointless, as something is going to happen. And that's why my team believes that nuclear weapons make the world a more unsafe place. Thank you.
Okay, big thank you for everyone, and just one more round of applause for all the speakers today. You've done a very, very good job. I know some of them, you know, especially going up on that stage in public speaking, it might be a little bit nerve-wracking, but everyone did a very, very good job. What's going to happen now, myself and our VIP judge, Miss Alonso, can have a short discussion about what we thought, and we will reveal a winner in about 1 to 2 minutes or so. Okay, so big well done again. But there will be one team that is progressing to the final on Thursday, and that will be revealed shortly. Thank you. Round of applause. Yes. One to this. Okay, so once again, a big well done to all the teams and all the students that took part today. Really impressed, like I said, especially with the public speaking and being put on the spot. But there was one team that myself and Miss Alonso thought slightly better and deserved to go into the next round, and that is the opposition. So well done, Charvatha, Noor, and Kapil, but well done, like I said, to everybody. Just in terms of the structure of the points, the rebuttal, and the overall arguments that were made, slightly better, but nevertheless, the proposition did a very good job as well. So well done. You should be proud, and we'll have lots more opportunities for these types of competitions moving forward and going to the next part. But on Thursday, the opposition, you'll be facing the winners of tomorrow's debate. The debate on Thursday, as you may know, is about whether classrooms should be, whether you should remove classrooms in favor of online learning. So that's something to think about. I won't tell you whether you'll be opposition or proposition until tomorrow to make it fair with the other teams. But again, big round of applause for everyone and the opposition as well for winning today. Round of applause, well done. And this was streamed, so you'll be able to watch it back and watch tomorrow's debates to check out the competition as well. Okay, thank you everybody.